Hello. Welcome everyone to Confidence with Coffee. I'm Heather.
And I'm Ryan. Hello. Sorry, just sorting out a tech issue on the computer. You can tell it's me using this stuff.
I think it's fairly clear at this stage. It is not me doing the tech.
And it shouldn't be me doing the tech.
And we're a little bit in trouble if Ryan is doing the tech. But if you're watching this, it's worked. So well done.
Exactly.
We are Confidence Through Cabaret, and we are talking today in Confidence with Coffee all about our latest podcast that's up today. So first of all, cheers, Ryan.
Cheers. Where have I put my coffee?
How can we do coffee?
I put my coffee down. Oh God, where have I put it?
I don't know.
So I've left my coffee downstairs, which is just great. So there's that. You have to drink for the both of us now.
It's a big one. It's
okay.
A big one. I like to pull myself, but it's exercise as well. It's weightlifting. So today we are so honored to have an interview going up in our podcast from the wonderful Geneva, who has a massive support and just super fan in our Confidence Through Cabaret community on Facebook, which you should definitely go and check out. Because there's just so much supportive material and so many wonderful people in there. And Geneva did an interview for us, which was just so amazing.
Oh, it really was.
Geneva is the warrior, absolutely. And she talks about her coaching practice and about, some of the things that she finds that are patterns in a lot of people's behavior. But particularly we're having a look at, kind of embracing our situations versus breaking out of some of those that are not serving us. Let's have a look at what you have to say.
Normally, if we have a situation that has happened to us, we embrace the pain, we embrace the hurt and all of those things.
Right.
So that begins to become the needle point for us. And then when other things begin to happen, we go back into that comfortable spot. So you can embrace your fear and enjoy it because you get used to it. You're in bed with it. It's my friend. I don't want to let it go. I'm comfortable with the pain.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. And I've been there. I've embraced the hurt and the pain.
Right.
And then my needle got stuck in Geneva's terminology.
Right.
And I've been where I just keep going back to that. And in fact, I still do it sometimes, if I'm really honest.
It's a hard pattern to break.
It's a really hard pattern to break. And I think, I'm still working on some of the paperwork of my late husband. And that's a huge thing because if we haven't met, or if you haven't met this part of my history, my late husband had Alzheimer's. And so he did a lot of things that are unexpected. So lots of bank accounts and lots of passwords that we can't find and so on. And so when I, because I'm still trying to deal with all of that for probate, but when I go back to some of those places, I kind of go, oh yeah, but this is really comfortable because I get to feel really small here.
Yeah.
I get to feel really afraid here. And I know how to deal with this pain because I've been here for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I think you can get stuck there.
If fear becomes a comfort in its own weird way.
Yeah, it does.
And I think how did you find that sort of appeared for you? How did that kind of manifest?
You mean the fact that I'm staying in pain?
Yeah. What was the moment you went, oh, I kind of have this, I can move beyond this, or I can see that this is something I can work with.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I just made myself really busy.
Right. Well, yeah.
So I did. So I had some time off, and then when my husband passed away last year, and then I got really busy. I went back to my work. I went back to my dance routine. Sort of lots and lots of studio classes, which was therapy, which was great. But it also enabled me to just hide.
Right.
and stay in that place of pain. And so I just made sure that I was never really alone with it.
Right.
And then last summer of 2019, then I got in a car accident, and so I could no longer do my physical work, and I had to move house because of financial devastation. And so I had lots of things that kept me busy. I'm in a new house, and I'm in lots of pain, and I'm going to physio and chiropractors and all kinds of things. And so again, I kept busy even when I was incapacitated. And then I went back to work again at the beginning of 2020. And then, well, we all know what happened in 2020.
Right.
So to
The fun.
mention that, we're in 2021 and we are moving past that.
We are.
Yeah, moving forward. And so that time, although it was brutal, and I know you have experiences in that as well, to answer your question, that's when that came up for me. It was like, actually, I'm not okay in this place, and I don't want to be here anymore. And because I was, we were also cut off with lockdown. I didn't have other things that I could fill all my time with. I mean, I still tried on Zoom classes.
But I remember we had our ways of doing things.
We did. We went
we
for
would
lots
go for a
walks.
walk, social distance walking. It was very good.
Yeah, stretching in the park.
Oh my God, yeah.
But then I got to a point where, after, I don't know, what is it, about 4 months, and I thought, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be in this comfort spot of pain and fear.
Right.
I don't want, and Geneva's right. We do get addicted to that feeling of being in fear, and Joe Dispenza, who she quotes on the clip that we just, talks a lot about our stress response. And I just didn't want to be in that place of emotional stress and physical stress, and the two were very combined. And I know there's obviously chemical stress as well, but that whole kind of like the emotional stress for me was in my body,
right? And
that I did not want to move from that.
Yeah,
and that physical response can become quite addictive.
Yeah.
And I love, if you go and check out our podcast, our interview, because when we're talking with Geneva, she has lots to say around, finding that inner alignment and releasing a lot of that. And what I found was that when I released it, I had so much more room.
Right.
I mean, physically, like in my own body, it was like, oh, all this stuff has started to leave, and it is brutal.
Yeah.
Because you have to feel it in order to let it go past. You have to let it flow out the other side. And I was like trapping it all. More feeling pain. This feels good. And so by letting that go out the other side, it just made so much more space.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, it was scary, because it was like, well, what do I fill this space with?
Right. Yeah, of course, because it does bring up another extra. There's always a working of layers with this stuff. It's always like a layer, or working through another layer of this, and peels a new thing. But that brings you closer to who you are, right? I mean, is that what you found?
Yeah, it definitely brings you closer to who you are, because and we've talked about this on on previous podcasts. I know we mentioned this when we talked about the clip that we looked at with Yadira on Confidence Through Coffee, and we talked about that whole kind of finding out who you are, and it being important to really be honest with yourself. And I think some of us, I don't know, if I didn't have lockdown, I don't know how I would have got to the point of being honest with myself. I think I could have carried on for a long time with just being really busy.
Yeah.
And just being always engaged, and fitness engaged, and work engaged, and family engaged, and just like everything,
Yeah.
And so it was really, I'm daring to say, it was a blessing that I didn't have all those times.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with, I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think often we're kind of made to feel bad for sometimes for seeing the potential of a situation when we look back on it. And it's like, no, we were able to use that thing and allow ourselves to grow. That pain was awful to go through, but I learned something. And it's that thing. It's that I've pivoted. I've figured out my thing, and I can learn how to move on that. And I can, in the process, learn to love me more.
Yeah. And I can actually, even before I love me more, I can get to know me more.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cabaret really as a bottom line, isn't it? It was just that whole bit about, we have so much, work knowledge in my corporate training background and in your cabaret and
Mm-hmm.
artist background, and we were, that's where it kind of came from, was we know ourselves in that context, and so we can work through together,
Mm-hmm.
some of our personal pain and difficulties and fears and
Yeah.
so on. The one thing that I never did do is, or not for very long anyway, was I never really let myself go into the whole victim mode.
Right. Yeah.
I'm broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think a lot of that was because I didn't have a lot of, I'm in the UK, I'm from Canada, so I didn't have, lots of family around me.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course you're cut off from all your usual activities and most of your friends and things. And I think that can be quite tricky.
Yeah.
Um, I just think that, we owe it to ourselves to really get to know ourselves. And that's
Yeah.
what Confidence Through Cabaret is about. And that's what cabaret's brought me all along, was just figuring out who I am and what I have to say and what is my space and what is my voice.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. And that's
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Cabaret is all about understanding that, and it's one of the things that we talked about in the first few challenges was the idea of that we'd been kind of divorced from the version of ourselves that we thought we had to play, and then certainly the All Caps challenge was great for that, and we were looking through that quite explicitly. And one of the things I've noticed in hindsight now, after we've done those things, is that those roles I was playing were still me, but they were different aspects of me, and learning to embrace those and understand that as those different layers is really freeing as well, and exciting.
Yeah. And you went through a whole metamorphosis of just, kind of reinventing your artistry
Yeah.
and your perspective within that,
Yeah.
and connecting to you as Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. What was that lockdown? Do you think that you would have made that time and space for yourself without it?
I absolutely would not have made time and space for that. I can tell you, being brutally honest, I was heading full on into a mental breakdown, and it was coming. I was medicated. I was in trouble, but it was happening. And lockdown put the brakes on, and I had to sit down and sit with myself. And I think if I hadn't, and I hadn't had the space and the time and the understanding from yourself and from my housemates, then I would have been in real trouble. I would have been in real trouble.
Yeah.
But I went through it,
Yeah, sorry.
and I've learned. So no, I went through it, and I've learned, a lot about myself, and that's been extremely helpful. And if you're watching, when you go to the Yadira podcast, she says a really gorgeous thing about this. She says, I don't want to be a victim. I want to be victorious. And I think that's always been something I've always said. I don't want to survive. I want to thrive. I think that's really important, and that's part of the thing that we've always talked about ourselves. We don't want to be limited. We want to take up the space that we want to take up. We want to be able to work with others and live our lives fully, and not have to harsh ourselves and be small.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say, if you're watching this and this is resonating with you, well, first of all, go and have a listen to the podcast that we have with Geneva.
Yeah.
And Yadira, for that matter. I mean, because there's more podcasts going up each week.
Yeah.
And I would say, but explore it, and then feel free to join our Confidence Through Cabaret community on Facebook. Do join us on www.confidencethroughcabaret.com, because there are lots of masterclasses there that are just from such wonderful people who have so much expertise to share. There's workbooks, and there's such a supportive community, because it's hard to do some of these things on our own. And I know we got through lockdown and we went through a lot of those things together.
Yeah.
And it can be really difficult. We will talk on another day around asking for help. My little nemesis. We will talk about asking for help
Yes.
and accepting help when it's offered. But if you are, and I know I'm going to go over time by saying this, if there are things here that are resonating with you, and you're like, yeah, this is great, but you haven't told me how to do anything here. I would say if you're in the place that Ryan and I have described or something similar in your own version, just start from where you're strong. Start from one thing that is strong. And so for me, because I had just been in a car accident and started recovery in the beginning of 2020, my body was my place where I was like, I can still go for walks. I can still do some physical exercise, and I'm getting stronger and stronger. And that's my one place. For some of you, it might be that you don't have that. It might be something else. It might be that you have a warm bed. It might be something, because my warm bed was my friend for a lot of lockdown.
Same.
Find somewhere where you feel safe that isn't in pain, and then move from there. You always say start from where you're strong.
Yeah. Where focus goes, energy flows, and starting where you're strong. These are very important things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say that if you take that step, then take the next step. What's something that you not just like, what do you love about what you have? And you don't need to go into a full-on gratitude practice, although I highly recommend it. But just start from small things and taking one step after another.
Yeah.
And anything else, then do join us in the community and share, and we will support and uplift each other. Thank you so much. Please and subscribe our YouTube channel. Google Confidence Through Cabaret. You're going to find Instagram. You'll find Twitter. You'll find our website. You'll find our podcast.
Spotify, iTunes, everywhere.
Yes. I still haven't figured out where our podcast is, but it's everywhere where podcasts are.
We're on Podbean and everywhere else.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Such a pleasure. Thanks, everyone. Oh, and don't forget, it's your body, your world, your stage. Bye.